A video of a young woman from Inner Mongolia looking for a stay-at-home husband recently went viral across China. It even sparked a heated debate between women and men online. This 24-year-old woman, who has a PhD, was seen at a matchmaking corner in Hangzhou. She said she's an only child, owns a house and a car, and earns 5,000 yuan a month. She's looking for a man to marry into her family and help her take care of her parents. The man doesn't need to work, and she would give him 2,000 yuan a month. Their future child would take her last name. She said she doesn't want any bride price. Her only requirements are that the man be at least 170 centimeters tall and in good health. Education level doesn't matter.
Have you ever wondered what happens when an entire generation of women wakes up one day and suddenly realizes that the rules of the game have changed forever? That the opportunities they once took for granted have slipped away quietly while they weren't paying attention? In a world where choices made in youth echo loudly into the future, many are now facing the quiet consequences of priorities that once seemed empowering but have led to unexpected isolation. Stick with me through this discussion, because by the end, we'll uncover not just the realities shaping modern relationships, but a powerful shift that's redefining happiness for men today. And it might just change how you see everything. If you're getting value from this, go ahead and hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell, and select all so you never miss out on more great Angry Guy content and get every single video the moment we release it. Also, if you're serious about taking control of your financial future in the crypto space, make sure to check out Angry's Crypto Academy, where you'll learn how to protect and safeguard your assets and grow your wealth, including how to buy, sell, and trade crypto the right way. The Academy is linked in the description of this video, so go check it out now and start building that knowledge today. And if you're enjoying these Angry Guy videos and want to show some support, you can buy me a Red Bull using the link in the description. It keeps the energy high and the content coming. Let's dive into this. There's a growing awareness among a certain group of women, often referred to as leftover women, that something fundamental has shifted in the dynamics between men and women. These are women who have passed what many consider the prime years for building a family, often in their mid-30s, 40s, or beyond, and they're starting to notice that men are no longer engaging in the ways they used to. Men aren't chasing as aggressively, aren't approaching as often, aren't asking for phone numbers or dates with the same frequency, and yes, in many cases, aren't even maintaining extended eye contact. It's not about outright rejection anymore. It's about a quiet withdrawal where many women feel increasingly invisible in the dating landscape. This isn't happening in isolation. It's a response to patterns that have built up over years. And it's leaving many women grappling with a reality they didn't anticipate. To understand this, we have to go back and look at the choices that led here. In their younger years, many women focused on experiences that felt liberating at the time, pursuing careers, traveling the world, embracing independence, and exploring relationships on their own terms. They were encouraged to prioritize personal growth, to not settle, to live fully in the moment. Messages from society, media, and cultural movements reinforced the idea that there was plenty of time, that family could come later, that being strong and independent meant not needing traditional paths right away. But biology doesn't wait for cultural shifts or personal timelines. Fertility has a natural window, and once that peaks and begins to decline, the options for starting a family narrow significantly. After a certain age, pregnancies carry more risks, labeled in medical terms as higher risk, and the chances of conception drop. For many women now reflecting on this, the realization hits hard. The years spent chasing excitement, adventure, or professional success came at the cost of opportunities for partnership and children that they once assumed would always be there. These women are sharing their stories online, opening up about the regret that's setting in. They're looking back and seeing how they pushed away stable, reliable men who showed genuine interest, believing better options or more time was always around the corner. They subscribed to ideas that painted traditional roles as limiting, that encouraged skepticism toward men who wanted commitment early on. Now, as they enter stages of life where parents are aging and support systems thin out, the prospect of facing the future alone becomes stark. No partner to share the load, no children to build memories with or lean on in later years. It's a self inflicted solitude in many ways, born from decisions that made sense in the context of youth and empowerment narratives, but now revealed their long term impact. They blamed men for not stepping up, but increasingly they're confronting the role their own choices played. Men, on the other hand, have been observing these patterns for decades. They've seen how relationships can turn into battlegrounds, how commitment often leads to imbalance. Think about the cultural shifts over the past 50 years. Movements that started with valid calls for equality evolved in ways that sometimes vilified natural male traits. Masculinity was labeled problematic. Men were told their instincts were outdated or harmful. Everyday behaviors were scrutinized and shamed. The way men sit comfortably on public transport became a point of public criticism, turned into campaigns that painted normal actions as offenses. In courts, systems handling family matters often favored one side, leading to outcomes where men lost access to children, homes, and financial stability after investing years into relationships. False accusations, though not the majority, gained massive attention and destroyed lives, making men wary of risks they couldn't control. Then there were the social dynamics. Women dressing in revealing ways in public spaces like gyms, then reacting strongly to any glance or approach, sometimes recording interactions to post online and rally public shaming. It created an environment where initiating conversation felt like walking into a minefield. Dating turned transactional, expectations of expensive outings with no guarantee of mutual interest, or worse, being used for entertainment without reciprocity. Online groups emerged where women shared details about ex partners, warning others in ways that could tarnish reputations permanently based on one sided stories. Paternity issues, where trust was betrayed, added another layer of caution. Men were told repeatedly that they weren't needed, that women could do it all alone, that traditional provider roles were oppressive. Men listened. They paid attention to the patterns, not just the words. When told to back off, to stop approaching, many did exactly that. They internalized the message and chose peace over pursuit. Being alone, they discovered, doesn't have to mean loneliness. Solitude can bring clarity, self acceptance, and genuine happiness. Men started focusing inward, building their physiques, careers, hobbies, and friendships that add real value. They embrace minimalism, cutting out drama and obligations that drain them. Luxury for men often looks simple: financial freedom, time to rest, pursuits that fulfill without external validation. Women pushed boundaries further and further, demanding more while offering less security in return. They created chaos, whether intentionally or not, through mixed signals, high expectations mismatched with effort, or leveraging victim narratives for advantage. Men saw through it. Pattern recognition kicked in strong. Why invest time, energy, and resources into something rigged against you? Why play a game where the rules change mid play and the penalties fall disproportionately on one side? Now we're seeing the fallout. Videos pour in from women expressing frustration that dating feels impossible. They're noticing fewer approaches, fewer offers to pay for meals, no random messages or financial support from admirers. Men aren't sending money to online profiles anymore, aren't chasing validation through attention. They're keeping their resources for themselves, investing in personal growth, travel on their terms, or simply enjoying the quiet. Society told men to step back, and they did, permanently, for many. This isn't about revenge, it's about self preservation. Men have always shielded others from life's harsher realities, taking on burdens to protect those around them. But when that protection is met with ingratitude or attack, eventually the shield comes down. Men are thriving in ways that surprise even them. Better mental health, stronger finances, deeper purpose. They're rediscovering who they are without the weight of constant societal expectations. Meanwhile, as economic pressures mount and life gets tougher for everyone, single women without support networks feel it acutely. The independence celebrated in youth requires real sustainability, and without partnership or family, it can turn isolating. Parents age, health issues arise, and there's no built in team to share the challenges. Many women who promoted these paths are now quietly panicking, realizing the narrative didn't account for the full picture. Let's tell this like a story because that's what it is, a tale of choices and consequences unfolding over generations. Imagine a young woman in her 20s, full of potential, bombarded with messages. You're enough on your own. Don't rush into commitment. Explore, achieve, live for you. She does. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. She builds a career, travels to exotic places, dates exciting people who don't stick around for long. She turns down the nice guy who wants stability because he's boring or not thrilling enough. And she embraces ideas that men are interchangeable, that she can have it all later. Friends cheer her on, media reinforces it. Everyone says there's no clock ticking loudly enough to worry. Fast forward a decade or two. The career plateaus, travel loses its shine without someone to share memories, and the exciting dates dry up. The men her age or older are either committed already or have opted out entirely, wary from past experiences. Younger women capture attention effortlessly. She tries dating apps, events, social circles, responses trickle in, but nothing serious materializes. Men swipe past or chat briefly without pursuit. Why risk it, they think, when the potential downsides are high and the upsides unclear? She starts noticing the shift everywhere. At cafes, no lingering looks. In social settings, conversations stay surface level. Men are polite but distant, focused on their own groups or goals. It's not hostility, it's indifference born from lessons learned. She posts online, venting frustration. Where have all the good men gone? Why won't anyone approach? The comments flood in from others in similar situations, echoing the same regret. This story repeats across cities, countries, cultures influenced by similar ideas. In places like China, the term leftover women originated officially, labeling educated women over 27 as undesirable if unmarried. But now it's global. Women who bought into delayed family for empowerment find themselves on the outside looking in. Men's side of the story is one of awakening. Picture the average guy, works hard, tries to date respectfully, gets met with skepticism or games. He invests in a relationship only for it to end with him losing big in settlements or emotional toll. He sees friends go through it, hears stories, reads the statistics on outcomes. One day, he decides enough. He hits the gym, builds his income, travels solo or with buddies, finds joy in simple things like reading, gaming, or mastering a skill. Suddenly, life feels lighter. No arguments over nothing, no walking on eggshells, no financial bleed. He saves, invests, enjoys peace. Other men notice, follow suit. A movement builds quietly. Men walking away. Not angry retreat, but empowered choice. Women demand men return. But on what terms? The old ones didn't work. Men trust actions now, observable reality over promises. The game changed because the risks outweighed rewards for too many. As society adjusts, men keep thriving. They protect their peace fiercely. Women face the consequences of past pushes. It's a pivotal moment, teaching hard lessons about balance, respect, and timing. We're only getting started here, but this shift is profound. Men finding happiness alone challenges everything we were told about relationships being essential for fulfillment. For many men, the opposite proved true. As we peel back the layers of this story, it becomes clear that what we're witnessing isn't just a dating crisis, it's a complete reconfiguration of how men and women relate to each other in the modern world. The women who once felt they held all the cards are now staring at an empty table, wondering where everything went. They spent years being told that their value was infinite, that age was just a number, that men would always be there waiting, no matter how long they took to decide on what they wanted. They were sold a dream of endless options, of having it all without compromise, and many bought into it completely. They rode the wave of youth and attention, surrounded by orbiters, admirers, and validation from every direction. Social media amplified it all, likes and comments pouring in, making them feel invincible. Career milestones were celebrated, trips documented, nights out glorified, and through it all, the message remained consistent. You go, girl, live your best life. Family can wait. The right man will come when you're ready. But reality has a way of catching up, and it's catching up now with brutal clarity. Those same women who once had dozens of men sliding into their messages are refreshing empty inboxes. The apps that used to light up with matches now show a trickle of low effort swipes from men who sense the dynamic has shifted. The streets that once felt full of possibility now feel indifferent. Men walk by without a second glance, not out of spite, but because they've learned to conserve their energy for things that actually matter to them. Gym sessions are focused, conversations with friends are deeper, hobbies are pursued with passion, and the mental space once occupied by chasing women is now filled with personal development and peace. Men have discovered that life without the constant drama of modern dating isn't empty, it's actually fuller in ways they never expected. Let's keep telling this story because it's one that needs to be heard in full. Picture Sarah, a composite of so many women sharing their experiences online right now. In her mid 20s, Sarah was thriving. She had a good job in marketing, a circle of empowered friends, and a social media presence that got plenty of attention. Weekends were for brunches, vacations were planned on a whim, and dating was casual and exciting. She met Chad at a music festival, the kind of guy who lived for adventure, and they had an intense few months together before it fizzled out. Then there was Mike, the stable engineer who wanted something serious, but Sarah wasn't ready to settle. He was sweet, reliable, but lacked the edge she craved at the time. She let him go, convinced that committing then would mean missing out on life. Her friends backed her up. You're young. Focus on yourself. The right one will come later. Influencers she followed echoed the same. Build your empire. Date for fun. Never settle. Years rolled by. Sarah climbed the career ladder, moved cities a couple times, collected passport stamps, and enjoyed the freedom. She dated here and there, always keeping things light, always believing the best was yet to come. Turning 30 felt like a milestone to celebrate, not a warning. Bottles popped, parties happened, and the narrative stayed strong. 30 is the new 20, you're in your prime. But quietly, things started changing. The intense connections became rarer. The Chads moved on to younger women or settled down themselves. The Mikes were nowhere to be found because many of them had been burned before and opted out. Dating apps became a slog of endless scrolling with few real conversations. Men her age seemed jaded or already partnered, and younger men wanted fun without commitment. By 35, the shift was undeniable. Friends started having kids, social circles evolved, and Sarah found herself at more events feeling like an observer rather than the center of attention. She tried to date seriously, adjusted her standards, but responses were lukewarm at best. Men would chat briefly, maybe meet for coffee, but nothing progressed. No pursuit, no investment, no real interest. She started noticing patterns in online discussions. Other women her age sharing the same frustrations. Where are the men? Why won't anyone commit? Why does it feel like we're invisible? Videos emerged of women in their late 30s and 40s breaking down, admitting they regretted listening to the advice that told them to wait, to prioritize everything else over family. They saw younger women effortlessly attracting attention and realized the harsh truth. Biology and attraction don't bend to empowerment slogans. Sarah looked back and saw the moments she pushed away good opportunities. The men who wanted to build something real were dismissed because they didn't fit the excitement quota. The years spent chasing validation through casual encounters added up, not just in experiences, but in how men now perceived women in her age group. High partner counts became a red flag for many men seeking stability, not because of judgment alone, but because patterns suggested higher risks of dissatisfaction down the line. Personalities shaped by years of independence sometimes struggled with compromise or nurturing roles in relationships. The desperation that crept in as time passed was palpable, even when masked behind strong facades. Men sensed it all and chose to pass. On the men's side, the story of awakening was happening simultaneously. Take John, representing countless men who've made the shift. In his 20s and early 30s, John played the game as expected. He approached women, planned dates, paid for everything, invested emotionally. He had a few serious relationships that ended painfully. One involved a breakup where he lost significant savings through shared expenses and support he'd provided. Another introduced him to the realities of family court when things didn't work out as planned, even without marriage, and friends shared similar stories. Divorces that left them financially crippled, accusations that damaged reputations, constant walking on eggshells to avoid offense. John watched society change around him. Movements that highlighted real issues sometimes morphed into broad attacks on men as a group. Normal male behavior was pathologized. Wanting to lead or protect was seen as controlling. Expressing attraction could be labeled creepy depending on the recipient's mood. Workplaces became minefields. Social interactions required constant caution. Media portrayed men as either bumbling idiots or dangerous predators. Boys in schools were medicated for natural energy, told their instincts were wrong. Then came the social media era. Women posting about needing a man who earns six figures, stands over 6 feet, while offering standards that didn't match the ask. Groups forming to share information on men, sometimes spreading one sided narratives that could ruin careers or social lives. Dating became a vetting process where men were interviewed like job candidates, expected to prove worth immediately, while women held power of selection without reciprocity. John reached a breaking point. One day, after another disappointing dating experience, he decided to step back entirely. He deleted the apps, focused on the gym, picked up new skills, saved money aggressively. At first, it felt strange, the absence of pursuit, but then something remarkable happened. Peace settled in. Sleep improved, stress dropped, bank account grew, weekends were his own. He traveled with male friends, built deeper bonds, pursued passions long neglected. He discovered communities of like minded men online, sharing stories of similar awakenings. Men walking away wasn't about hating women, it was about loving themselves enough to stop participating in systems that harm them. Minimalism became a lifestyle, cutting out unnecessary expenses, drama, obligations. Luxury looked like waking up without dread, having full control over time and resources, building a life of quiet strength. Word spread, more men followed, gyms filled with focused individuals. Investments grew as money once spent on dates and relationships stayed in pockets. Mental health improved dramatically without constant relational tension. Men realized they didn't need external validation to feel complete. Self respect became the foundation. Back to the women. As men withdrew en masse, the dating market transformed. Supply and demand flipped. Women who once had abundance now competed fiercely for a shrinking pool of willing men. But those men came with new standards: no drama, mutual respect, clear intentions from the start. Many women struggled to adapt, carrying habits from years of having the upper hand. Demands persisted even as options dwindled. The desperation showed in subtle ways: overinvesting early, pushing for commitment quickly, or lashing out when rejected. Society started feeling the ripples. Birth rates declined as family formation slowed. Women voiced confusion and anger online. Men need to step up. Men are the problem. Where are the real men? But men weren't listening anymore. They were too busy living well, thriving actually. Businesses catered more to male solitude, products for solo living, experiences designed for individuals or male groups. Content creators spoke directly to men about self improvement, financial independence, retiring early. The feminist narrative that promised empowerment delivered independence, but not the kind many wanted long term. Independence without interconnection can become isolation. The career that was supposed to fulfill left many feeling empty once the initial climb slowed. Travel memories faded without shared context. The strong woman facade cracked under the weight of unspoken regret. Men, meanwhile, protected their peace like never before. They saw through attempts to lure them back with promises or shaming. Guilt trips didn't work when personal happiness was at stake. Observable reality trumped everything. The risks were real, the rewards questionable. Why return to a game where the house always wins against you? This great divergence continues to widen. Women in comment sections plead for understanding, share tears, admit mistakes. Some double down, insisting men are at fault. Others quietly adjust, seeking ways to rebuild value in men's eyes. But for many, the window has narrowed too much. Parents age, health declines, and the support once assumed from family never materializes because it was never built. Men keep walking forward, their lives simpler, richer in meaning. They mentor younger men, warning them early: focus on yourself first. Don't sacrifice for systems that don't value you. The movement grows organically, not through organization, but through example. Happy, peaceful men inspire others. We're seeing a cultural reset, traditional expectations dismantled, new realities emerging, men rediscovering purpose outside provision for others, women confronting the limits of narratives that ignored biology and human nature. It's painful for some, liberating for others. And the story isn't over, but the chapter where men chase endlessly has closed. A new one begins where self respect reigns. Men thrive in solitude turned strength. Women learn hard lessons about time and choice. Balance might return someday, but on different terms. Terms built on mutual value, respect, reality. As this unfolds daily, more evidence appears. Posts from women begging men to return, demanding government intervention, expressing bewilderment at emptiness. Men respond with silence or simple truths. We listened when you said you didn't need us. Now we're applying that advice to ourselves. It's a tale of empowerment backfiring, of boundaries finally enforced, of peace chosen over chaos. Men walking away aren't lost. They've found themselves and they're not looking back. Let's keep unfolding this narrative because the patterns we're seeing aren't just anecdotes, they're reflections of deeper shifts happening right now in 2025. As we look around, the conversations online, in media, and across social platforms are filled with women expressing confusion and frustration about the state of dating. Videos and posts from women in their 30s and 40s are surfacing more frequently, sharing moments of vulnerability about feeling overlooked or struggling to find meaningful connections. These aren't isolated stories, they're part of a broader dialogue where many women are questioning why the dynamics feel so challenging today. At the same time, men are increasingly prioritizing their own well being, focusing on personal goals, financial stability, and inner peace rather than pursuing relationships that carry high risks and low rewards. Consider the experiences shared by women like Katie, a 37-year-old professional highlighted in recent discussions who has chosen to pause dating altogether despite wanting a partner. She describes encounters with low effort from men, No real communication, no planning, just a sense that interactions often leave things worse rather than better. This sentiment echoes across countless stories. Women feeling that potential partners aren't stepping up in ways that build mutual respect and security. Terms like man keeping have emerged to describe the extra emotional labor women often shoulder in relationships, managing moods, providing support, and carrying the mental load without reciprocity. Research from places like Pew shows a stark gap. Only about 38% of single women are actively seeking relationships compared to over 60% of single men. Women aren't necessarily closing off to love. Many are simply tired of investing heavily without seeing balanced effort in return. This exhaustion ties into larger trends. Over the years, women have gained more independence, higher education, careers, financial autonomy, and with that comes higher expectations for partnerships. No one wants to add stress to an already full life. When relationships feel like they demand constant management or emotional upkeep without shared benefits, opting for solitude starts to make sense. It's not about rejecting men outright, it's about choosing peace over imbalance. Many women report that the men they encounter seem disengaged or unwilling to contribute equally, leading to a cycle where fewer women feel motivated to pursue or maintain connections. On the flip side, men are responding to their own realities. Decades of shifting expectations, legal risks in family matters, and cultural messages that sometimes portray traditional male roles negatively have led many to reassess. Men have faced scrutiny for natural behaviors, navigated complex social rules around approaches, and dealt with outcomes in relationships that feel unfairly weighted. As a result, more men are choosing to invest in themselves, building careers, health, friendships, and hobbies that bring fulfillment without the complications. This isn't bitterness for most, it's practicality. Why enter a arena where the potential downsides outweigh the upsides when life alone can be stable, productive, and genuinely enjoyable? The storytelling continues with real world examples from both sides. Take the growing number of women sharing on platforms about the difficulty of finding partners who meet basic standards of effort and compatibility. Some admit to past choices focusing on excitement or independence, only to later wish for stability. Others point to broader issues like economic pressures or mismatched priorities. Meanwhile, men describe reaching points of clarity after repeated disappointments, deciding to redirect energy inward. Communities and discussions around self reliance for men have grown, emphasizing that happiness doesn't require partnership if the costs are too high. In places like China, the concept of leftover women has been around for years, pressuring educated women over a certain age. But recent developments show even more restrictions in social events, highlighting ongoing cultural tensions. Globally, similar themes emerge: delayed family formation, declining birth rates, and individuals on both sides navigating solitude. Birth rates continue to drop in many countries, influenced by factors like cost of living, career demands, and personal choice. Some express concern over population changes, while others see it as a natural outcome of people prioritizing what feels right for them. As we delve deeper, the rhetorical question arises: what happens when both sides reach a point of withdrawal? Women, empowered by independence but facing isolation, and men, protecting their peace but sometimes feeling disconnected. The key is observable patterns, actions over words. Men have learned to trust what they see. Relationships that demand high investment with uncertain returns lead many to opt out. Women, seeing low engagement, choose self protection too. It's a standoff born from accumulated experiences, not sudden malice. Yet this shift has silver linings for men embracing it. Lives become simpler, more savings, better health, deeper self knowledge. Minimalism thrives, no drama, no obligations draining resources. Men report higher satisfaction focusing on goals, travel, fitness, and bonds with like minded friends. Thriving isn't about excess, it's about freedom and control over one's time and energy. Women navigating this landscape often turn to building strong networks, friends, family, hobbies, pets to combat loneliness. Many find fulfillment in careers, personal growth, and communities that don't revolve around partnership. Support systems matter immensely, whether through online groups sharing similar experiences or real life activities filling days with purpose. The story evolves daily in 2025, with media highlighting these divides. Discussions about emotional labor, effort gaps, and mutual respect dominate. Some call for understanding across lines, recognizing that both men and women face pressures from modern life. Economic stresses, social changes, and past hurts influence choices. Healing comes from self focus first, then perhaps openness if conditions align. Imagine the parallel journeys. A woman in her late 30s reflecting on years of independence, now seeking balance but finding slim options. A man in his 40s, after lessons learned, enjoying solitude turned strength, no longer chasing validation. Their paths diverged from shared cultural shifts, leading to separate but parallel realizations about value and peace. This divergence challenges old assumptions. Relationships aren't the sole path to happiness. Self sufficiency can be profoundly rewarding. Men rediscovering purpose outside traditional roles find luxury in simplicity. Women building resilient lives discover strength in autonomy. As videos and posts multiply, women voicing frustrations, men sharing successes, the narrative builds. Regret surfaces for some who delayed, indifference for others content alone. Society adjusts slowly. Lower marriage rates, evolving norms, focus on individual well being. The profound part? This could lead to healthier dynamics long term. When pursuit stems from genuine mutual value, not obligation or desperation, connections might deepen. Until then, self preservation reigns. We're seeing a generation redefine fulfillment. Men walking away aren't fleeing, they're advancing toward lives aligned with their needs. Women prioritizing peace protect their achievements. It's a pivotal era of introspection and choice. The tale reminds us time shapes outcomes, patterns reveal truths, peace is priceless. As roads diverge, individuals thrive in new ways. As we continue this journey through the evolving landscape of relationships in late 2025, the evidence keeps mounting that the dynamics between men and women have reached a turning point unlike anything we've seen before. Women across the United States and beyond are voicing their frustrations more openly than ever, sharing stories of low effort interactions, mismatched expectations, and a growing sense that finding a compatible partner feels increasingly out of reach. Articles and discussions highlight women like Katie, a 37-year-old professional who has stepped back from dating entirely because the men she encounters often fail to communicate effectively, plan meaningful dates, or add genuine value to her life. She describes a pattern where interactions leave her feeling drained rather than enriched, a sentiment echoed by countless others who feel that many men actively make life more challenging instead of better. This isn't just anecdotal. Surveys and reports from 2025 paint a clear picture. According to data from sources like Pew Research, only about 38% of single women are actively seeking relationships compared to over 60% of single men. Women are opting out at higher rates, citing the emotional toll of carrying the load in potential partnerships, a trend now dubbed man keeping, where women end up managing the bulk of emotional labor, reminders, and support without balanced reciprocity. It's exhausting, and many are deciding that solitude is preferable to investing in connections that demand constant upkeep without mutual benefit. The Guardian and other outlets have captured hundreds of women sharing similar experiences. Educated, independent professionals wondering why men seem unwilling or unable to match their effort, especially when education gaps play a role. Many men hesitant to date women who out earn or out educate them. Let's expand on this story with real examples unfolding right now. Consider the rise in women quietly quitting the dating scene altogether. In forums and social media threads from 2025, women in their 30s and 40s describe refreshing dating apps only to encounter ghosting, minimal communication, or partners who expect emotional anchoring without providing the same in return. One common theme is the imbalance. Women building careers, maintaining strong networks, and achieving financial stability, yet finding that potential matches often lack the drive or emotional maturity to keep pace. This leads to a rhetorical pause. Why continue pouring energy into something that feels one sided when peace and self sufficiency offer so much more fulfillment? Men, observing these patterns over years, have responded by prioritizing their own paths. The statistics bear this out. Younger men, in particular, are reporting higher rates of singleness, with 63% of men under 30 describing themselves as single, compared to just 34% of women in the same age group. This gap widens the divide as men redirect focus toward personal growth, fitness, careers, and hobbies that bring tangible satisfaction. The concept of men walking away isn't about isolation out of anger. It's a deliberate choice for self preservation and happiness. Communities discussing this shift emphasize financial freedom, mental clarity, and the luxury of minimalism, removing drama and unreciprocated obligations to make room for what truly matters. Birth rates continuing their decline in 2025 further underscore these changes. Global fertility rates are dropping, influenced by economic pressures, delayed family formation, and shifting priorities around relationships. Reports from organizations like the UNFPA link this to barriers like cost of living, lingering gender inequalities, and a broader fear of the future. In the US, rates hover around historic lows, with many citing the challenges of finding suitable partners as a key factor. 4 in 10 women who want children report not having them yet due to partnership issues. This isn't coercion or lack of desire for family in all cases. It's the realistic assessment that building one requires mutual commitment, stability, and effort that's increasingly hard to find. Rhetorically, we have to ask, what led us here? Decades of cultural evolution promised empowerment and independence, delivering it in spades for many women through education and careers. Yet, the flip side reveals gaps in emotional compatibility and shared vision for the future. Men, facing their own sets of challenges, economic uncertainty, scrutiny of traditional roles, and past experiences of imbalance, choose to step back. The result? A market where demand and supply no longer align smoothly. Women express bewilderment at the lack of approaches or investment, while men find solace in lives unburdened by expectations that once felt rigged. Storytelling brings this home. Imagine Emily, a successful 35-year-old in a major city, scrolling through apps in 2025. She's accomplished, travels frequently, has a solid circle of friends, and she wants partnership, perhaps children someday. But dates fizzle quickly. Men unresponsive, dates lackluster, no real pursuit. She hears friends say the same. Good men seem scarce, or at least unwilling to engage fully. Meanwhile, across town, Alex, a 38-year-old professional, has deleted the apps. After years of investing in relationships that ended unevenly, he's thriving solo. Gym routine solid, finances growing, weekends filled with hobbies and male friendships, no drama, no eggshells, just peace. He sees the complaints online, but trusts his lived reality. Focusing on himself yields better returns. This divergence grows wider with each passing month in 2025. Trends like intentional singledom rise, with women setting boundaries as self care, walking away from red flags faster. Black women in particular are highlighted in discussions for embracing depth and alignment over superficial connections. On the men's side, usage of dating apps drops significantly, 15 to 22% for young men on major platforms, shifting gender ratios and making matches even harder. Men report match rates at historic lows, prompting many to invest elsewhere. The intensity lies in the directness of these choices. Women aren't settling for less because they've built lives that don't require it. Men aren't chasing because they've learned the value of their own time and resources. Both sides protect their peace, leading to thriving individuals but fewer traditional pairs. Society feels the ripples: declining marriage rates, evolving norms, a focus on personal well being over obligation. As we pace through this narrative, consider the broader implications. Declining birth rates prompt policy discussions, but coercive measures fall flat. People want agency, not incentives that ignore root causes like economic strain and relational imbalance. Nordic models with generous support show slower declines tied to gender equity and shared loads. Here, the lesson is mutual respect and effort from the start. Men walking away rediscover joy in simplicity, financial independence, health, purpose driven days. Women build resilient networks, finding fulfillment beyond romance. It's not doom, it's adaptation, a reset where value must be proven, not assumed. In 2025, videos and posts amplify these voices. Women sharing woes of low effort, men celebrating self focus. The story unfolds daily, teaching balance, timing, reality over illusion. We're diving deeper, but the core remains. Choices echo, patterns persist, peace prevails when protected. As we push further into this exploration of where relationships stand in late 2025, the data and stories emerging paint an even clearer picture of a profound disconnect that's reshaping everything. Women are increasingly stepping back from dating, not out of disinterest in connection or partnership, but because the experiences they're having often leave them carrying far more than their fair share. Reports from major outlets like The Guardian highlight women sharing raw accounts of encounters with men who show low effort, no real communication, no initiative in planning dates, and a tendency to make interactions feel draining rather than uplifting. One woman, Katie at 37, summed it up perfectly when she said she's pausing dating altogether because too many men actively make life harder instead of enhancing it. She's independent, financially secure, and open to fostering or adoption as a single parent rather than navigating the exhaustion of mismatched effort. This theme of man keeping has exploded in discussions throughout 2025, coined by researchers at Stanford to describe the extra emotional labor women often shoulder in heterosexual relationships. It's not just about planning social events or remembering details, it's becoming the default therapist, mood manager, and support system for partners who lack strong networks elsewhere. Men's social circles have been shrinking for years, leading many to lean heavily on romantic partners for emotional outlet, while women maintain broader, more supportive friendships. The result? Women feel burned out, quietly quitting the dating scene to protect their energy. Surveys show only about 38% of single women are actively seeking relationships compared to over 60% of single men. Women cite the mental load, the one sided investment, and the sense that potential partners don't add value but subtract from their peace. Let's weave this into the ongoing story with fresh examples from 2025. Take the viral trends on platforms where women reverse gender roles in dating horror stories, highlighting low emotional effort from men as unacceptable. Or consider the Tinder Year in Swipe Report for 2025, where Gen Z emphasizes clarity over chaos, rejecting mixed signals and low pressure nonsense. Young people are opting for low key connections or stepping away entirely, with many women saying being single feels strategic and celebrated rather than a failure. Economic pressures play a role too. Dating costs add up, and with inflation biting, men aren't stepping up with traditional gestures as often. But the deeper issue is emotional reciprocity. Women who've built careers, stability, and self sufficiency expect partners to match that maturity, not require constant coaching. On the men's side, the statistics tell a story of withdrawal as well. Pew data confirms a massive gap. 63% of men under 30 report being single versus just 34% of women in the same age group. Younger men are disengaging from dating apps at higher rates, with match success plummeting and many choosing self focus over the perceived risks and frustrations. Communities online celebrate this shift toward personal growth, financial independence, and minimalist living, lives free from drama, where luxury means control over time and resources. Men report better mental health, stronger finances, and genuine contentment without the obligations that once felt unbalanced. Birth rates continue their steady decline in 2025, hitting historic lows in the US and globally, influenced heavily by these relational shifts. Fewer people are forming the partnerships needed for family building, with economic barriers, delayed marriage, and mismatched priorities all contributing. Reports from the CDC and UNFPA point to positive factors like better access to education and contraception, but also highlight fears about the future, sexist norms lingering in partnerships, and the simple reality that many aren't finding compatible matches. Incentives like baby bonuses fall flat because the root issues, mutual effort, shared loads, emotional safety, aren't addressed. In countries with strong support systems, decline slow, showing that equity in parenting and relationships matters immensely. Rhetorically, we arrive at a crossroads. Both sides are protecting their peace, leading to thriving individuals but stalled traditional paths. Women build resilient lives with friends, careers, and communities that fulfill without the weight of man keeping. Men rediscover purpose in solitude, hobbies, and brotherhoods that encourage vulnerability without romance. It's not a war, it's adaptation to patterns observed over years. Low effort breeds disengagement. High standards demand balance. Picture Lisa, a 34-year-old in 2025, successful in tech, scrolling apps only to encounter ghosting or half hearted chats. She wants partnership, but not at the cost of her well being. Better to invest in travel with friends or personal goals. Across the city, Mark, 36, has logged off entirely after years of unbalanced investments. He's hitting personal records at the gym, saving aggressively, enjoying quiet evenings. Both are happier alone than compromised. This pattern repeats globally. In discussions around leftover women, often still stigmatized in places like China, the narrative shifts toward recognizing that independence isn't failure, it's choice. Videos from women in their 40s reflect on paths taken, some with regret over delays, others embracing solitude fully. The intensity comes from direct observation. Actions reveal truths. When effort lags, trust erodes. When peace is prioritized, fulfillment follows. Men walking away find strength in self reliance. Women rejecting imbalance safeguard achievements. As 2025 closes, trends like intentional singledom dominate. Gen Z demands empathy, clarity, shared values, low key lovers over high drama pursuits, hopeful outlooks but grounded in reality. No more settling for less. Society adapts. Lower marriage rates, evolving norms, focus on well being. Pronatalist pushes meet resistance because coercion ignores agency. True change requires mutual respect from day one. Men thrive in rediscovered simplicity, financial freedom, health, purpose. Women cultivate networks that sustain deeply. It's liberation for many, introspection for all. The story teaches profound lessons. Time reveals consequences. Effort builds bridges. Peace is earned through boundaries. Deeper still, this reset could foster healthier connections ahead. When participation requires proven value, not assumption, bonds strengthen. Until then, self preservation leads the way. Individuals on both sides navigate with clarity, choosing paths aligned with needs. Divergence widens, but personal growth accelerates. As we navigate deeper into the realities of late 2025, the trends shaping relationships and personal choices are becoming impossible to ignore, backed by fresh data and real voices emerging from surveys, reports, and everyday conversations. Women are increasingly choosing to step away from dating, not because they've lost interest in meaningful connections, but because the experiences available often fall short of adding real value to their already full lives. Take the insights from The Guardian in September 2025, where single women across the US shared their exhaustion with low effort dynamics, no meaningful responses on apps, poor communication, and dates that lack planning or initiative. One woman, Katie at 37, put it bluntly: she's pausing dating despite wanting a partner because too many interactions make life feel harder rather than better. She's even open to fostering or adoption as a single parent, prioritizing her peace over forcing mismatched connections. This pattern isn't isolated, it's reflected in broader statistics. Pew Research data from 2025 shows only about 38% of single women actively seeking relationships compared to over 60% of single men. Women are protecting their energy, turning down the constant emotional upkeep that comes with unbalanced partnerships. The term man keeping, coined by Stanford researcher Angelica Puccio Ferrara, has gone viral this year, describing the extra labor women often take on, managing moods, encouraging social connections, and providing support when men's own networks have shrunk. As men's friendships have declined over decades, partners end up filling those gaps, turning relationships into one sided emotional management roles. Many women are saying no more, opting for solitude that feels empowering and sustainable over relationships that drain without replenishing. Let's continue the storytelling with examples straight from 2025. Field's State of Dating report highlighted how straight millennial men's low effort profiles, minimal details, unclear intentions are fueling a broader dating disconnect. Women invest in clear, honest representations while facing disengagement that leads to swiping fatigue and disappointment. Tinder's year in swipe for 2025 reinforced this shift toward clarity. Gen Z rejecting mixed signals and low pressure interactions, celebrating singlehood as strategic and positive. Being single isn't seen as a setback anymore. It's a deliberate choice for many women building careers, strong friendships, and self sufficient lives that don't require compromising on standards. Men are navigating their own shifts, with data showing higher rates of singleness among younger groups. 63% of men under 30 reporting as single versus 34% of women in the same bracket. App usage among young men has dropped 15 to 22% on major platforms from recent years, as many redirect focus to personal growth, fitness, finances, and hobbies. This withdrawal stems from observed patterns, risks in modern dating feeling unbalanced, past experiences teaching caution, and the realization that self reliance brings genuine contentment. Men are thriving in minimalism, simpler lives with more control, better mental health, and resources kept for their own goals. Birth rates tell part of this larger story too. continuing their decline into 2025, with U.S. figures at historic lows around 1.6 births per woman. Economic factors like housing costs and job insecurity play a role, but so do relational dynamics. Fewer stable partnerships forming means delayed or foregone family building. UN reports emphasize it's not just finances, fears about the future, lingering inequalities in sharing loads, and the challenge of finding mutual effort all contribute. Policies offering incentives haven't reversed trends because they don't address core issues like balanced reciprocity and emotional safety. Rhetorically, consider the parallel paths unfolding. A woman like those in Guardian stories, accomplished, independent, yet weary of carrying extra weight, chooses networks of friends, career fulfillment, and personal pursuits over suboptimal relationships. A man burned by past imbalances or wary of risks invests in himself. Gym progress, savings growth, deeper male bonds without drama. Both protect peace, leading to higher individual satisfaction, but fewer traditional pairings. In cities across the US, singles landscapes vary, but trends show more men single in younger demographics, with ratios evening out or shifting as age increases. Women over 40 often report higher unpartnered rates, building resilient lives post divorce or choice. Global echoes appear in places like China, where leftover women discussions evolve toward recognizing independence as valid, not failure. The intensity builds from direct evidence. Low effort erodes interest. High standards demand equity. Women reject man keeping to safeguard achievements. Men embrace self focus for clarity and strength. Society ripples, declining marriages, evolving norms, emphasis on well being. As 2025 data pours in, from field reports on profile laziness to pew gaps in singleness, the narrative clarifies. Choices reflect lessons learned, mutual value over obligation, reality over promises. Deeper pacing reveals hope in adaptation. Healthier dynamics may emerge when effort matches from the start, vulnerability shares evenly, boundaries respect universally. Men walking away find luxury and autonomy. Time theirs, peace profound. Women curate lives rich in meaning beyond romance, connections deep, goals met. This era teaches timing, reciprocity, self worth. Divergence challenges assumptions, accelerates growth. Trends like intentional singledom dominate discussions. Gen Z prioritizing empathy and alignment. Clarity wins over chaos. What did you think about what was discussed today? Do you agree with the shifts we're seeing, or do you see it differently? Leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts, your experiences, anything on your mind. I read them all. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead. It's the MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.